Good evening, labels and jelly spoons.
2, 3, 4. That's better. Wasn't working.
Oh, look at that. I brought a new camera. Only a little cheapy, but it was better than the little golf ball thing that had like really bad resolution.
Good evening.
So I need to turn off the background stuff because we're going to get that whole hoo-ha-ha thingy. There we go. You're about to send the shipping for the sword. Then I should get to packing the sword for you so I can send it to you. That sounds about right, doesn't it? Okay, so tonight's stream will be working on the next commission. Now that I've got Yon's commission all taken care of and we're working on packaging, I've got two swords that I'm working on at the moment. The one that I'll be working on tonight is the steel GreatSword from Skyrim. And then I'll also be tinkering around with the next commission, which is the Connor MacLeod broadsword from the Highlander movies. And we're going to do a bit of a mash on that. Could you show it one last time on camera before I pack it up? Yes, I can do that. Please stand by. It's actually in my bedroom. Okay. There it is. Look at that. Wasn't that a piece of beastly work? And to swap cameras because the face cam is set at 720 while the main cam is set at 1280. So, bing! Here we go, Yon. There's your... Punish Props is auto-hosting with up to 5 viewers. Thank you very much, Punish Props. And welcome along to all of those who have come to watch Bill and Brittany only discover some silly Aussie with a sword. And of course, there's the B side as well. Now, Yon's, I gave it one light dark wash just to give it that little bit of age, as we were discussing whether you wanted it brand new off the production line or old and beaten up, and you went for something between the two. So there's no battle damage on the sword. There's just a little bit of weathering to give it some age. The camera doesn't do it justice, mate. It doesn't look bad. It looks bloody kick-ass, and I'm very, very happy with your weapon. There's a balance point around here somewhere. G'day Finn! And g'day Helter! So there we go, bud. Enjoy that. Of course, all commissions come with one compulsory condition. $98.28 for the shipping. Geez, I hope that's American because that won't actually cover it in Australian. Thank you, buddy. I will have that bundled up for you. Tomorrow's Friday here, so I can parcel it up tomorrow. I can go up to the couriers and have that sent off to you. Either Helter is everywhere. Either late tomorrow because I don't have any plans tomorrow, or first thing on Monday. But as always, I'll take a photo of it in the courier's hands and send it to you. Here's the High Elf. Yons has just paid the postage, so I must parcel this up to send to him.
Yay! Congrats!
So, it's going to sit there in... Thanks.
I'm trying not to get in the
Thanks.
way. Thanks.
Right. Rory's going to have that tuck in his belt for the night, okay? How is the... Anyhow, I'm going to be right back. No worries, I'm going to be on for a while. I'm going to start working on the next sword now that yours is put to bed, mate. Okay, for those of you who joined us last night, I was discussing one of the other commissions, which is the Highlander sword, and how the two bits of artwork were different. Well, I've made some discoveries. Let me flick across here to screen and show you my discoveries. This is a scene taken from the Highlander movie released in 1986. This is what my client wants me to make. That sword and the shield that Connor MacLeod is hanging on to. Okay? You can see the blade on this sword has a slow taper down to the tip and then a more rapid taper on the tip itself. The handle is black and the pommel is quite prominent and is also black. The crossguard is rather wide. Okay? So those are the key things to look at. Repeat it again there. This, I think, is the sword that Fen got us, which is that actual sword used from the movie in the auction house catalogue, and there's quite a few shots of that, which are beautiful. It shows here, for instance, that the MacLeod name is engraved and that the detail in the bottom of the crossguard centre is engraved in its entire for that half circle. The handle is a wooden handle with an iron round ball pommel with a little ball on the top and a gold coloured or brass coloured band separating the handle from the crossguard. Okay? And these are all from the catalogue that the auction was. Right, a little figurine because we needed to see the shield. This, however, is a scene from the third movie, which was called Highlander Endgame, because the second movie no one talks about, that's the one where we found out they're aliens. In Endgame, they flip back to the same time frame while Connor has been kicked out of his village. And during that time, the villagers come back and taunt him because they have a drought and everything's dying, and they threaten that his mother will burn. So he jumps on his horse, grabs his sword to ride back to the village to protect Mum, and as they pan up with him mounted on the horse, they show this. A totally different sword. This is the crossguard that you see on most of the replica images that are around. There we go. So I'm going to do a combination. I'm going to use the blade from the original movie and attach it to this handle and pommel and crossguard because the details are more beautiful and upmarket. So that won't be tonight's project. That's the next build after the one that I currently have on the workbench. Okay, so that's just to let you know where we are in the build process stream and what the mentality is for the other one. G'day Crims, welcome along. Thanks for joining us. So much for continuity. Exactly, there is no continuity. Like I said, that scene in Endgame throws back to the same time frame before he, or just after he has his battle with the Kurgan and discovers that he's immortal. The village want to burn him. His best mate stands up and says, no, what we're going to do is we're going to expel him from the village. What do they call that? There's an actual word that he uses. Anyway, they kick him out of the village, and they his best mate sticks that sword in his belt while he's got the wood tied across the back of his neck with his hands tied on it. Sticks the sword in his belt, and they kick him out of the village, and he goes and finds Heather and lives peacefully until that incursion there, which you don't see until the third movie. It's a flashback to the same time frame, but there's no continuity in that sword. It's a totally different sword. It's gone from being a sword handed down from a warrior family to a warrior in the family to a warrior in the family to a sword that looks like is virtually brand new and is a high level member of the clan's kind of sword, isn't it? With that embossed engraving and that beautiful suede handle and the silver pommel and stuff. it looks like he's a high-ranking member of the clan. Oh yeah, it happens all the time. Of course it does. I mean, there's a difference between Han Solo's blasters between scene and scene. But not to that extent. It's a totally different freaking sword. Anyway, the client has left it up to me, and I said, look, I want to give you that nice handle and pommel arrangement with the beautiful details, but the blade needs to be the blade from the first sword, because one, it looks better than that pencil dick thing that goes down to a point. Two, I can put the core in it and hide the claw, and he wants it to have a little bit of weight, so we're going to actually put some lead fishing sinkers in the foam of the blade. So I need more meat there than that tapered blade. Anyway, let's move on to this one. This is a commission for a local, so thankfully no horrendous postage. Last time you saw me build the blade and put the dowel in it to give it some strength. Since then I've actually cut it out along the silhouette, so the blade is now the silhouette shape that it's going to be. It is this graphic here, which is the steel greatsword from Skyrim. My plan is to I thought about it a bit more, and these angles here, I was going to put 2 layers of 2mm foam, 1 layer of foam, and then a second layer to cut the detail out of, cut all the detail out and glue. I think I'm actually going to use a thin layer of the 5mm foam and then a 2mm foam laid over the top, and the same for the crossguard, because I want the ricasso to be a little thicker when I round off the edges. Okay, so it'll be a 5mm on top of a 2mm. I'm also going to soften the points on the flukes. They're too damn sharp for a foam prop. The quillions on the crossguard need to taper downwards to the center, so the 5mm foam will allow me to give more meat to do that rounded taper. And then on the pommel itself, I have even more detail to do, and there's a ring around the center of the handle. Meh, not a major problem. The blade I had a look at, in the artwork you can see there's a definite ridge down the center of the blade, but there's also a definite bevel on the edges. So I'm going to do a combination of 2 cuts on the blade. I'm going to mark in the center core of the blade, or the ridge of the blade, and I'm going to taper off the edges on a shallow taper, and then I'm going to mark a border around it to represent this, and then I'm going to put a much steeper angle on the tip of the blades. You got to look suspicious? No worries, buddy. Thank you very much for joining us. So the blade itself, where's my biro? In profile, it's going to I'm going to taper off kind of thing, and then put a steeper 45 bevel on each end. Yeah, that way in photos and stuff it's going to have 2 distinct edges coming in to a ridge, but it's also going to have a sharper game edge on it. Got it? Good. Oh, hang on. Sancho, sorry man, I didn't see your link there. Let's take a gander at that. Damn, that's pretty. That's got to be a lot of work, mate. I have been looking for a future project Oh, hell yeah. He currently cosplays as a Whiterun guard here in Perth. He has a metal helmet that he got on commission of $500. So he tells me. So I've seen in chat. So yeah, he's got himself a nice costume. There are a couple of photos, I think, of the two of us together at the convention. The cosplay conventions. What was the last one? Supernova? We tend to do photos of me decapitating him because that's much more fun. So I'm just scrolling through quickly through photos of the last convention because I know there's a photo with myself and him in it, or at least a couple. Here we go. I think that's one. Screen, bam. He's currently building himself a series of shields from the different clans around Skyrim, so yeah. But he wanted a two-handed weapon. I let him play with that GreatSword from my Nord, and he quite enjoyed it, so asked me to commission or commissioned me to make him a GreatSword of his own, but he prefers the steel GreatSword than the Nordic GreatSword, and that's okay. I'm fine with that too. I am the Thane of Whiterun, of course, and a couple of other places apparently. I've got over 300 hours of gameplay in Skyrim, so I'm the Thane of a couple of places, and I can switch to vampire, to human, to werewolf, because one of my companions is the vampire girl, so she can recurse me, and my wife is the werewolf girl. Go figure. So I'm going to start building up these areas. The handle needs to be a little thicker because to make it round I need to have obviously the same dimension in height as I have in width. I intend to somehow have you make me an axe one day. Well, it's not that difficult. You go, oi, Tyrannus, you shithead. Could you make me one of these? And we go from there. Okay, so this handle is 40mm wide, but only 26mm deep. Yeah, throw some money my way and all sorts of shit seems to happen. I'm a good little capitalist. 40 take away 26 is going to be 14. So we need about 7mm on either side of this to give me square to make it round. Yes, I remember that. That's okay. We're not talking now. You said one day. And one day is fine. Neither one of us going anywhere in a hurry, are we, brother? So yeah, pretty much everywhere from here, the shoulder of the blade, up through the flukes, across the ricasso, through the crossguard, up the handle, to the pommel, all needs to be thicker so that I can shape material. So I think I should get down to business to defeat the Hun. Got a better part of the design picked out. Have you got an image of the design that you're interested in? I mean, we're talking down the track, so that's cool. Don't worry about it. But yeah, if you've got an image, throw it up there just so we can see how your mind is ticking over at the moment, man. So, what I think I'm going to do is I've got a couple of pieces of 5mm here. I think I'm going to trace out everything on this design, on the pattern. I'm running out of fucking table space here. I traced this whole piece out from the bottom here. So basically I'm just going to cut the blade off, and then I'm going to trace that whole top half out twice more on 5mm. Glue that to the top half of the sword and see how that starts bulking up, what that feels like. So Crim is thinking of oh, Jesus wept. Yeah. Actually, that doesn't look, when you look at breaking it down into pieces, PVC tube handle with some PVC, some foam wrapped around that hand grip, a pommel, the blade, the block that mounts the blade, that can all be done in foam. There's another block on the back of the handle, that tube that goes from the top back down into it. Yep. Bit of tubing from the hardware store. Yeah, that isn't an impossible build at all, mate. Yeah. The Heat Hawk, MS6 Heat Hawk, a Mecha Gundam weapon. Okay. Cool. Okay. So, let's plunk that down there. Hey, Terra. Yeah. Crunchy roll. Once you send it. Okay, so it's only a small build you're trying to tell me. I'm gonna need more foam. God damn, fuck me. You know how we're discussing freight problems at the moment? We're going to have an issue getting that to you. Okay, I'm going to need me one of these, and I'm going to need me one of these. Just hold it over the ocean and you might be able to grab the other end in Texas. I think that might be possible, eh? You don't plan on having it as big as Fen showed. Yeah, I would probably say that's a fucking good idea, not to have it quite that large, okay? You've got a spare sea container laying around? You're checking to see if you had nifty lights in it or anything, and found the full-sized one. Okay, so we're going to need this. So let's not put that where I can't find it. So I'll put it somewhere safe. Isn't that the way it always works? Now, I don't think my bits of 5mm offcut are going to do the job. And I've got a whole roll there, but I've also got the little bits left on an existing roll. There we go. I knew I had a bit just floating around purposely. Making you jealous, just flaunting my macas there. The blade is meant to heat up to deflect beam swords. Well, of course it is. Everybody knows that. Beam swords don't like heat. That's it, the daughter's gone weird. Well, weirder. It's almost lunchtime and you're hungry. Well, it's almost midnight and I'm not hungry anymore because I've got all this lovely ice cream. Why is the high elf yelling, wee? I don't know. High elf, why are you yelling, wee? No answer was the stern reply. Yo, weird ass daughter. Why were you yelling, wee? Because she ate her ice cream. Still a big ass curve in that, isn't there? Pardon? Chris Marshall. Male or female? There we go, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it first. The new Doctor's new companion will be played by Chris Marshall. I have absolutely no idea who that is off the top of my head, so I can either yay or nay it at the moment. We can't have a conversation like this. As in, I will not be having a conversation like that.
I'm coming. That dude. He was rumoured to be playing the Doctor, but now he's the companion.
Okay. We need more Doctor Who news. We do. Doctor Who. The Daleks. Doctor Who. Doctor Who. Doctor Who. RadioTimes.com named image. Could Chris Marshall be joining Doctor Who after all? Well, yeah. Apparently, that's the companion.
Yep. He's a dopey actor. He's been in so many things. But you never...
So he's going to be the comedy relief.
Guess so.
Okay.
That's what he's been in Love Actually.
He was in Love Actually.
He was.
Where's Nardole?
Death Funeral, The Merchant of Venice, Murder City, Evil Virtue, Death Watch, Sparks and Embers, The Most Fertile Man in London, Ireland even.
Is he?
Apparently.
Well,
He was in Citizen Kane.
I suppose that's one sort of it. No, he wasn't. Not the original.
The one that's in... Oh, Citizen Khan.
Thank you.
My bad.
And I'm back.
Can I see me? Well, this is what dreams.
Thank you, High Elf,
Welcome!
for that dead star I blew from the sky. You're welcome. I'm just an ordinary Jedi. Did you literally just... No, you didn't just literally. Yes, Yons. It was. She's not the dorkiest of the dorks. I'm more dorkier than that dork. Cool. What can I say except you're welcome? It's not me. Yon's just typed it on the screen. Look.
No.
Uh-huh. I was in there only a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, she put the spider on her stomach.
She's blaming me for that. Oh, there. Look, see, you've upset Fenn now.
Why?
Not you.
Oh.
Yon with his whale cum. It's tartare sauce, really.
No.
Sploosh!
Nasty.
It's nasty.
Yeah,
Nasty.
nasty.
Y'all nasty.
Oh, my bed cover got said today.
You're welcome. Really? You're just going to sit there burping off screen, are you? That's why the oceans are all salty.
That's why I don't swim in the ocean. Well, that's not what. It's the specific reason.
That's
why,
not the specific reason, but it's good enough, you reckon, eh?
Yeah. It's up there.
Weird. 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 Daughter is weird. Drop bears aren't that scary. Not if you're a native and you know how to avoid them. Background music time! Kevlar umbrellas, that's what you use. You got it. Yes, but not suits of armour made from foam, apparently. Not as effective as one would be led to believe. Apparently drop bears' claws are like can openers. They rip right through that shit. So the plan is to cut this out, giving a wide margin around it, so that when I glue it down, I can then pair it, I can do the edges with the Dremel, instead of trying to cut it on the line and place it perfectly when I lay it onto the top of the sword. Oops, there's a pin still sitting right there, making my life difficult, more difficult-er. So have we been busy little Vegemites today? Yesterday? I didn't stream yesterday, so we didn't have a catch-up. I actually, I did some research yesterday. Research, that's what we'll call it. Researchers have found that drop bears are more likely to attack tourists than people with Australian accents. So says Wiki, which is the source of all correct info. Pictures at 7. That's it. It's that whole foreign affair thing, foreign food thing. The occasional exotic taste. You can just see them sitting up there in their tree. A couple of drop bears. So, Bazza. Yeah, what, Macca? Feel like Indian or Japanese tonight, mate? Or, geez, I don't know. Maybe we should try a little Korean, perhaps. Possibly some Italian sounds good. Haven't had Italian for a couple of days. Mm-hmm. Just need to keep the edge of the blade nice and sharp. Completely unrelated, but do you know why dragons dislike knights in plate armor? Is it because the tin foil they're wrapped in messed with their fillings? I fucking hate that. Is it because they're hard to unwrap? I don't know. Why do dragons dislike knights in plate armor? Canned food is always less tasty than fresh food. Bravo! What the hell was that noise, Bubby? Please don't tell me you just farted and I heard it all the way out here. No, heaven forbid, I'm a lady. That's not gonna fly. You know that's not gonna fly. It was your drink that farted. Yeah, righto. That's your stream that's playing on your end. Yes, I can hear my own stream in the background slightly. Otherwise, if I turn it all the way down, I can't hear any notifications from followers and stuff, my friend. Is it distracting to you guys having that small delay in the background? Or are you telling me that there's no music being played? Because the background music, unfortunately, was not playing, but it is now. The fart noise was actually apparently her taking her straw in her drink and going... Mind you, I think it was actually just her rolling onto one bum cheek and cutting loose. It is the Dark and Furry Show, which apparently I will be on this time next week. Well, not this time, but today, next week. I don't know. Later. I'll be on later. Eclipse Your Fate is now following. G'day, Eclipse. How are you? Thanks for following. Look at that. You get 2 follow notifications because I'm so bloody generous. You get turned into a zombie and you get this one up the top. It's either because I'm generous or I'm too damn lazy. Oh, and Eclipse Your Fate is also hosting. Thank you very much, Lee. Yeah, so the 2 notifications are either because I'm too damn lazy to... disable one of them, or because I'm so generous that I give you 2. Whatever you think feels good at the time is what we're going to go with. Work lurk. That's alright, we've got a couple of work lurkers. So what I've got to do is get down to business to defeat the Hun. She's so big and hairy, she could be your mum. So Eclipse, what brings you to the channel on this fine evening? Are you a fellow creative? If so, let us know so that we can give you a follow on Twitch if you're a fellow creative streamer. We like to do that. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm marking out the bottom of the detail. Hey there, all stopping by via another channel's host. Cool bananas. Well, I know Punish Props is hosting at the moment, or at least they were. They popped up earlier on in the stream that they were hosting. I don't know who else has got me on host at the moment because I didn't see too much more of that pop up. Muted work lurk ensues forthwith. Okay, no worries. I need to remove the surface within this marked area so that this piece that we just cut out can glue down. And I'm going to have to do the same on the t'other side, so there will be quite a bit of dremeling. It is way too late in the night to be arcing up any kind of sanding device, belt sander, etc. Crims, okay, sorry Crims, I forgot about that, mate. I did see that you were hosting. My apologies. So Eclipse could very well be coming through from your host. And if he is, thank you very much, Lee, for the sharing of the loving. Lunchtime! Ding! What are we having for lunch? I thought you were chained to your desk. You weren't allowed to eat, sleep, urinate, unless you could do those things whilst continuously working. You get unlocked for an hour. It's very nice of them, really. You had rice and ham. Both of those are quite up there on the I would eat them scale. Righto. So, I'm going to put those scraps down there. We'll get the old dusty brush over there. And put that up there. Okay. A slight grammatical mistake there. So put the engraving tip in here because CK Cosplay, how you doing? Okay, behave yourselves, gentlemen. There's a lady in the stream now. Oh yeah. Got sick and tired of my granddaughter's name rubbing off of the side of her water bottle at school. Playgroup. So I took the Dremel out, put the engraving bits in it, and thank you very much, Crims. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Despite what everybody else says about you. That's funny. Well, not funny, just where did it go? I normally put my Dremel bits up in the crow's nest. And it is not there. It's not in there, which means it could be any fucking where is what it actually means. Balls is your favourite swear word, and crap and shit. Wow, okay. I would have credited you with more imagination, but, you know. that's what you got, that's what you got, I suppose. Let's do this. Let's whack a 60 on that. And then we'll whack a 120 on that one. And we'll have 2. Indeed we will. Breasticles. Breasticles. Okay. See, that conjures up all sorts of wonderful images in my head. Ah, that's the other one of those. So let's drop it in there so it doesn't get lost. Alright. Put my workbench surface back into something I can work with. You keep your swear plain, simple and direct. Well, you've all been in my stream long enough to know that I don't have an issue with conversational Australian English. So that's a nice smooth sandpaper on that one, and this one is a little more kawaii, kind of like the language that's happening in chat. Favourite thing to say when I swear is fun. Or for crying out loud. Hey, look, it's tomorrow, boys and girls. Right. I shall start singing you the song of my people. It is. It's just after. It is tomorrow. I'm coming to you from the future. I can hear you mimicking me. I thought we were a day and a bit. It's now 5 minutes into Friday morning. And yes, those little stockinged feet and pink pajamas belong to the High Elf.
I got this for Mother's Day. The year that Willie was born. They are special. No.
So are you, sweetheart. You're special too. See, special in brackets, in quotes.
Quotations.
Personally, I think Quim's just told you to catch the short bus, but what do I know? Because she is the high elf of dorks.
And I've never watched a Doctor Who episode.
Yes, well.
I'm watching Grimm. That's close enough.
You watch what?
Grimm.
You watch Grimm, that's close enough. Tirana Spawn. Spawn of the devil!
And that explains Winona, doesn't it?
Dark Energy Designs in the hizzy, ladies and gentlemen. All the way from deepest, darkest Texas, where men are men and horses are scared. How are you, my brother? Doing well, having some lunch, good. So you'd be stuck doing that work thing too, wouldn't you? Righto. So that has removed all the texture from the surface that I need to glue. And this, boys and girls, is why we wear dust masks. Because that shiz just gets in your lungs and it's all for ages afterwards. And that crap's be boring. Nobody needs to hear that. Is that people yelling in the street? Fucking yobbos. So that piece there now needs to get glued on here to raise the details of the fluke, of the ricasso. Kitsana, how are you? Oh yeah, there's a health risk as well. Yes, can't forget that. So that is going to get glued on there, and then I'll do another one for the other side, which will thicken up the handle, so that I can round the handle off and give me a good grip, and so that I have the basis then of the details and the raise up between the blade and the bottom of that. You're good? Good to hear? Good to hear. So I need obviously to remove some of this texture so I can glue that down on there. I'm not worried about sanding the texture off the blade because I'm literally going to carve that texture off as I shape the profile of the blade. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm not going to worry about taking that texture off. I'm going to mark a line straight down the spine. I'm going to taper off both edges, and then I'm going to hard taper the side of the blade to give it a sharper edge, and do that on both sides. So that doesn't work. That doesn't need to be sanded just yet. I will do that before I affix this because I want the taper of the blade in there, and I also want the taper of the quillions to they're much thinner on the outer edges than they are on the center. So the idea is I'm going to actually thin down the core and then stick the 5mm back on there, which will give me that taper off, that thinness as it goes to the edge. Yeah. Gonna turn it over. Starting to confuse myself now as to where I am in the process. To remove the texture from this side as well, cut a second one of these, shape the blade so I can attach these. Yes, okay, that's my order of build process. So once again, I'm going to crank up the Dremel with my little party hat on. Once again, thanks to Dark, who's sitting there in the background at the moment. Always wondered what I would sound like with a bondage mask on. Well, sweetheart, now you know. As I was saying, thank you to Dark for providing us with the background music as he does all the time. Salt Lake City is losing their shit. Salt Lake City Comic-Con just announced Dick Van Dyke is coming. Okay. That is going back a ways to get him into the fandom, I suppose. Has he done anything pop culture wise recently that would bring him in there? Or they just discovered that he hadn't actually died and they'd use him before he did? Mary Poppins isn't recent though. So while, yeah, I appreciate having him there. It is his iconic role, I suppose, yeah. Speaking of American conventions, I see that Bill and Brittany posted that they can't make it to San Diego Comic-Con. I thought that was like their big con, I don't know. I mean, obviously that doesn't affect me personally because I don't get to go to American conventions. Something happened in his family. Oh, shit. Okay. We're talking about in Bill's family. That's not good news. Mentioned it in Red's channel, did he? Okay. Well, hopefully it's nothing too serious and that whichever family member it affects gets better soon, or if indeed it is an illness. No doubt he'll let us know the specifics if he wants us to. It's that level of bad news. Okay. I have a bench sander, buddy. I also have 25 past midnight, so I'm not using it. Besides, this is far more therapeutic. Don't you think? This is how I fill 3 hours of content. Stream would have been over 2 hours ago. Other country conventions sound so much better. Its grass is always greener. Kitsano? Where are you located again? Sorry, I got old people's disease. I don't remember every detail of all my friends and followers. Let's put it this way, there's one very happy Smurfette roaming around. Oh, so you're in Oz too. That's right, are you over Eastern States, are you? Because I'm with you, there's the American cons seem to be absolutely huge compared to ours. I had a hook up with a Fifth Element chick. Kitsano too, thank you very much for the follow, I appreciate that. Yes, I have a daughter who lives in the Atherton Tablelands, Kit. Yeah, she likes it. Out on your times, that's the curse of the creative mind. What do you mean you used to watch Foamy? Don't you watch him anymore? I mean, he is hard to understand with that silly Pommy accent, but yeah, you know. You mean KC Cosplay? Oh, fair enough. So what I'm going to do, now that I've done that sanding, is I'm going to mark the centre line down the entire length of the sword, so I know where the ridge is on the blade. I'm going to taper off the blade on both sides on a shallow taper before giving it a steep taper on the very edge of the blade, so that I can fit these plates to make it fatter, and they will curve with the blade, with the new profile of the blade, that is. Okay. That also means I now need to have a quick look at my reference image to see whether the flukes, like whales' tails, the flukes thin off as they go away from the blade. I know that the crossguard quillions do. They taper off as they go further away from the blade, so I want that to be done before I glue this extra surface on. So I've got a couple of stages to do first. So what I think we'll do is we'll do some dusting, a little bit of cleaning, then we'll shape that blade and look at doing some sticky. Now, I see Fen was in chat and still didn't have that icon. I wonder if it's been approved yet. I don't see my icon approved there. Bugger. So not yet, hey? Hang on a sec. Hang on a sec. G'day Hawkstar, how you doing? Thanks for joining us again this evening. Eek. Nearly ran over the sword. I need a strong... I do have a shop vac, but it's really fucking noisy, man. I got there. A shop vac right there, see? I'm doing good, thanks, bro. So what I want to do then is now mark this spine down the center of the blade and start doing some shaping with the kniffle. So somewhere around here I have a silver highlighter. Yours is rated strong enough to suck up small children. Well, yes, see, that's a hazard here because don't forget I have the little workshop elf and I don't want to find her in a vacuum cleaner. Tyrannus has been all fucking considerate with his fucking noise, motherfuckers. Yeah. Alright? See, now look what you made me fucking do. Fuck it. Warning, this fucking stream is narrated in fucking conversational Australian fucking English, and as such it will fucking contain fucking language that may be fucking offensive to some fucking viewers or inappropriate to children. Yes.
Carl's just been flown in from sea. He's got appendicitis. He's got surgery tomorrow afternoon.
Oh shit.
He's up at Fiona Stanley.
I forgot fucking. Sorry, Neoab, how are ya?
Said if she needs us to call us because she's at Fiona Stanley.
74 is a 37.
Much.
Yes, we'll do it instead of pissing about it. Where's the good silver highlighter gone? A Sharpie gone? There, let's try that one. Yep, that one will do it. Okay, good old Australian conversational English, mate. That's not long enough. Got to get the big rule. That's what she said? That's not what I want to hear coming from my dear sweet innocent daughter. Yeah, well, good point. Always, in my dreams, you are my sweet, innocent daughter. Don't ruin it for me. Don't forget, everyone, Dark and... Oh, sorry, Tyrannus is on What's Dark and Furry next week. Other guests to be advised because they all fucking ran when they found out they had to share the microphone with moi. Oh, stitch. Ow, 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 ow. Ah. So, Dark, is it me? Or does the Dark and Furry theme song have a little bit of a hark back to the Fraggles? Or is it just wishful thinking on my behalf? I appreciate if we can't actually say so because we do not want to breach copyright. It's the Fraggle Rock music. Yeah, I loved it. Like I said, I listened to it, I went, oh God, memories, my childhood right there in the fields, man. That's right, I gotta check out these reference images about the width of the flukes. You're a fluke. Pick on me. Just shut up back there and do your whole like domestic mother bullshit thing, alright? You want to slap in the face with ham. No, not particularly. Just be oi, I'm streaming here. I got like all serious bullshit with like viewers and important people and crap, alright? Yeah, like VIPs and bullshit, alright? Okay, so let's get down to business. Screen. Here's me pretty reference image for this weapon, giving me a better idea of what my 3D look is gonna be. So as you can see, the flukes taper off to a very narrow kind of bit, so we're going to shape that now. And I was pretty much right with the blade. There is a center spine, a shallow taper out towards the edge of the blade, and then a very steep taper to give us the edge of the blade. So it still looks a very gamey, which it's going to do. I'm going to thin down the width of the ricasso to compensate for the leather wrap, because the ricasso kicks out on either end on my tracing because of the leather wrap artwork. But that's not a big problem at all. You like that? Good, complete. That's what this is gonna look like when I'm done. You're sorry you haven't been able to catch my stream. Well, we need a note from your mum, okay? That's all it takes, just a note from your mum, and we'll let it slide, okay? Spent a little over half an hour recording and mixing it right before our show. You went to relax for an hour before the show, turned on HBO, and there was Fraggle Rock. How about one from Papa Mess? That's good, that works for me. So, what I'm going to do now is I've got my spine marked. I'm going to go around the edge of the blade and I'm going to mark where I want the taper to be. Because obviously I don't want it to come straight to the center of the blade because it's not a full diamond profile. Yeah, concentrating, kissing me on the back of the head. You'll get bloody splinters and shit. I would say that was the High Elf wishing us all a fond farewell and a good evening. Sea Salty 5 is now following. Thank you, Sea Salty. Don't go away, because not only do you get that, very shortly you'll be zombified right here before your very eyes. There you go. Don't forget, of course, all the social media links written across the bottom of the screen there. For those of you who like to keep in touch on the Facebooking, you'll find my Facebooking link there written on the bottom of the screen. If you like process photo, work in progress photos, you'll find them on my Instagram page. And all of these videos eventually make their way up to the YouTube channel, which is also shown there on the bottom of the screen. For instance, You're both going to disappear. I'll see you both later, guys. No worries. Grims, go get a job so you can pay for me to do a commission. No pressure. So yeah, for those of you who've just joined us and stuff, if you want to see, for instance, how I built all of the Nordic armor, all you got to do is pop across to the YouTube channel, and you'll find about 50 odd chapters on that build alone. Because yeah. I'm signing paperwork to say I'm hired. Woo! Good on you, dude. So you did end up getting up a job? Yeah? What are you going to be doing, man? Are you signing up at IKEA? Oh my god. That would be a horrible job, working at IKEA. I would spend my pay in store. Stocking. My first job was as a storeman. You rather cheer for TNT? TNT. Hoi! Hoi! See, I knew that's not where you were going, but that's where we're going anyway. That is not working for some reason. There is no lead in my pencil. I love how I can say shit and all the young people go, what the fuck? And all the old people are sniffing their coffee out their nose. Because I'm old. You love the meatballs. I love the spicy meatballs, huh? When I was at TNT Cosplay... Ah, the other TNT. When I was at TNT, we did name drop you like a drop bear dropping out of a tall tree. Well, yeah, I'd love to get my hands on TNT's foam, but as we've been discussing quite regularly in my stream of late, the cost of freighting stuff in and out of Australia is fucking horrendous. So I will have to make do with the other sponsor who is supporting me from here within our coastline, because it won't drive them out of business to send me foam, whereas it would probably drive TNT out of business sending me foam from the other side of the globe. But when I become a big international jet-setting cosplayer like Yaya or Jessica, I will then be buying my stuff from whomever, whenever I please, because I'll be really rich. Really rich, eh? We know what the possibilities of that are, don't we? Not a lot, unfortunately. No, that's not working. Have I heard of the Hero Studio? I think I have, yeah. But refresh my memory. Tell everybody in the class. Oh, ow, 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 cramp in the back of my neck. I've been taking magnesium and drinking lots of fluid because unfortunately I've been cramping up a lot recently. It's like I'm rusting up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a real shallow taper from the spine to those lines and just take those faces off. Once I've done that, I'll clean it up with the Dremel a bit. It's a shop that sells la foam warbler for cosplayers here in Australia. I have sponsorship with my friends at Cosventure, who are in Ballarat. And Cosventure sell a lot of cosplaying supplies and will be bringing in and will be bringing in foam, and I will be getting my hands on some of that. So yes, those are my new sponsors, guys and girls. I'll be whopping their logo up somewhere on the screen once they start once I start getting things underway using their supplies. Okay. Now, somewhere around here, I got me a sharp knife. But it can never be too sharp, so let's sharpen it some more. What I'm thinking of doing is this camera here. I'm going to lift it up higher so that it beams out wider on my work surface so we can see all my work surface. I think that might be more beneficial for you. What do you reckon? And I can zoom in and zoom out if I want to bring it down to the tabletop. Okay, so I hope this is sharp enough now to do the tapering. Thanks for picking your nose. Well, it looked itchy, dude. Wizzo! How you doing? Probably a reason why I put a brand new blade in for this normally. Waiting for paint to dry and organising your work area. That's one of the bits I hate about cosplaying, is sitting there twiddling my fucking thumbs while paint dries. So what I'm doing now is I'm staging builds so that while one is painting I can be gluing something else. While one is drying I can be gluing something else, so that I don't get that whole "come on, hurry up" thing. Should have sharpened that a little bit earlier in the process. What I think I'll actually do is swap the blade out for this. Because I've got a few blades, it's not like I can't. Okay, that's going to make a difference. Flip it over and do the same process down this side. Oh. Much more control over it when it's sharp for some reason. Oh shit. Use a fan and lean paintings against it so it dries quicker. Short breaks allow for snap grabs. Yeah, but as long as... Aren't you meant to be cutting away from your body? Yes, but I don't have as much control if I do that. The thing I find with putting a fan on is it dries the outer surface of the paint and not necessarily right through the paint, so it forms a skin. Shit, a brick! Stop! Yeah, all down that finger, just every time I grabbed the blade then it just cramped up like, God damn it. So I've done the two opposite sides. Now I'm going to do the two other sides. Which means I've got to clear some workspace at that end of the workbench. So all this excess blade has somewhere to go. That's as far as it's going to go. Oh, sugary sweetness. Alright, here we go. Let's take this face off. You see the difference between a sharp blade and a blunt blade. The sharp blade I don't need to saw. The sharp blade I don't need to saw through the foam. It slices through the foam. I've been getting a lot of cramps lately. I've been at night waking up with cramps down my calves, in my kidneys and down the back of my neck, to the point that it's sharp enough to wake me up, pull me out of my sleep. So the daughter went all Nurse Betty on my ass, and she got me magnesium tablets. I'm drinking a lot more fluids. And I'm putting salt on some of my food occasionally. Not great heaps, because great heaps is bad for you, but your body does need some of those bits and pieces apparently. Tonic Walker is supposed to help with that, yeah. Kit's still deciding what to cause at your next con. Well, yeah. How far away is the next one? I know Oz Comic Con Brisbane is not till the 28th of September. No, that's a lie. It is the 23rd and 24th of September. You off, are you? No worries, Crims. Take care of yourself. Have fun at IKEA. Woohoo! And congrats on the new income stream, my friend. Yes, I'm hanging out for Oz Comic Con in Brisbane because I'm in the Champions of Cosplay, and the fourth competitor in the competition will be decided at Brisbane Oz Comic Con. Then the fifth and final competitor in the competition will be decided in Sydney the following weekend. And then all five of us go head to head to see who's going to be the Aussie representative in Chicago at C2E2 next April. So yes, keeping an eye on the Brisbane scene. We've already had our winner from Melbourne and our winner from Adelaide. So I know what I'm up to from those. From those two states, because we have to use the same costumes that we won the state championships in when we go to Sydney for the nationals. And those two girls that have won their respective states are fucking amazing. And there is talk that Major Sam Cosplay is entering in the Sydney round again this year. She will be here at my next convention, and we are co-hosting a panel on cosplay competitions, on entering, what to expect, those sorts of things. your own personal expectations, how much pressure you put on yourself as opposed to how much pressure there should actually be, if there should be any pressure at all, what level of competition you should consider entering based on you personally, not just your experience and your builds, but how you feel in the competition phase, whether it's a fun competition that you're more interested in, whether you take it more seriously, all those sorts of things. So it's going to be a really interesting panel. Myself, Astro Carey, Kira Lee Cosplay, Major Sam Cosplay will be the 4. But that's over here in Perth, so that's part of the Evolve competition on the 26th of August. Where I should be presenting this sword to its new owner. Well, Kit, Facecam time. Cosplay. Doesn't matter whether you buy it, whether you make it, whether you spend days on it, hours on it, months on it, years on it, it doesn't matter. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is to have fun. It's called cosplay. It's not called cos competition. It's not called cos bitchiness. It's not called cos bloody wool international. It's cosplay. So as long as you're having fun, that's all that freaking matters, okay? Different people get different things out of their cosplay experience, and that's cool. That's a personal level. But the only thing you need to remember is cosplay is fun. All the rest of it is entirely up to what you want to bring to the table, whether you want to be a serious international cosplayer or whether you want to be a casual cosplayer. Doesn't matter, and nobody can fucking judge you on it. I'm way too old and too far along in life to have to worry about all that fucking politics in something that I see as a fun hobby, a pastime that I choose to be involved in, not that I'm forced to be involved in. And for anybody who's seen one of my drunken streams, or one of them, you'll know I tend to jump up and down on my soapbox when it comes to that. Falcor! How the devil are ya? Thank you very much, KC, you messy bugger. Those were supposed to go in the cup, not at it, but I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now, Falcor, I haven't seen you there for a while, man. What you been doing? Where you been? We missed you. Welcome back to the same old place you started from. Now the names have all changed since you hung around. And that's a really old song from a television show that you probably don't remember. Right. I got my basic shape for my blade. My basic. Ooh, it's 2 hours in and I've done bugger all. Fucking hell, lift your game, lad. So I'm going to get the trim. You've been building your cosplay, entering your first competition next week. Go Falcor! Would you like to show us pictures of your cosplay? Can we see it? Can we cheer from here? What competition you going in, mate? Questions, 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 questions. I can see if I can get a picture of it, at least an old picture. I'm entering the novice comp. Sweet. First steps are always the scariest, but it's a lot of fun, man. And trust me, what goes on backstage when you're standing in that queue waiting to go up on stage and have the crowd explode in cheering for your costume, the support and the chat you get backstage from the judges, from the hosts, from your fellow competitors, it blew me away. I never expected anything like that. I've been in competitions before where it's like, don't talk to me, you're the opposition. I've never got any of that while I'm been in any of the cosplay competitions, right from the novice right through the champions. I nearly pulled out of the champions of cosplay a couple of times, and it was another competitor on the stage with me who prior, just through talking, pulled me back into line and got me up to continue on the, and she doesn't even know it. Okay, she has no idea of the effect of her camaraderie had on keeping me in the competition. No, Keaton. I mean, Batman. Fucking love it, man. Look at the work you put into that. It's fucking awesome. Look at them lines and those cuts. That's fucking beautiful. Well, freaking done. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin this over. I'm going to taper the tip of the blade a bit to give me some mouse, some more definition on the blade. So I'm just going to zip, biddy-doo-dah, and then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to zip, biddy-ay. Why is it like that? Oh, because the workbench isn't even. You remade the cowl. You think a more accurate cowl the second time? Well, yeah, every time you redo it, you get a bit better and a bit better and a bit better. I'm not joking. That's my Nord. That chest piece is the Mark III. I made 3 of those, okay, before I got it right. I'm working on my second set of armor, or the one to follow this. And here's the first helmet that I started making. Notice anything about it? It's a bit fucking big, isn't it, lad? So I made a second one, which was still a bit fucking big. So now I made a third one. So just keep going till you get it right. So yeah, making a second cowl is probably part of the correct process. Get no arguments from me about having to do things over and over, okay? Righto. Actually, that should have started back there where the whole taper is. And I will shape that with the Dremel. Working on details at the moment. You've done so much more than that picture. Cool, man. You'll have to send us photos after the con. So what convention is it? Which one are you going in? Is it a one we would have heard of over here in Oz? That didn't quite taper off the way I expected it to. Right. Nyeh, don't like that. None of those, must be one of these. And that isn't the one. That'll help keep that in line. I don't think so. It's called Narcon. It's in Sweden. It's more of a con directed to cosplay anime. Sweet. Okay, well no, it's not one that I've heard of, mate. But that doesn't make it any less significant. Jons, who's up the top there that yelled out Batman, he's not too far away from you. He's in the Netherlands, so maybe he will have heard of it. I know they're different countries, but it's a lot closer from Netherlands to Sweden than it is from Australia to Sweden, yeah? Okay. More of the singing of the song of the people. Nope, haven't heard of it. Well, there we go. That answered that question. Okay. Kamui and Yaya have both been guests, so it's not just a itty bitty con, because I haven't been guests in any of mine. You don't even know half the cons in your own country. Dude! Me either. Right. Dremel sounds. Now I'm not doing my final shaping, but because I want to work more of the shape into here before I glue that top surface on, I'm just going to get the basic shape of the blade down for this first cut to get me up the top here, okay? Oh, hell yes, San Diego Comic-Con, that's on the list here too. But my chances of actually going to an overseas convention are pretty slim. It's not like I'm Ted, I don't have 5,000 people up there on that follows list, there's only 400. So I'm never going to get invited to an overseas convention. And I don't have the skill set that would deserve me being invited to one anyway. Damn, there's some big bumps in that. That's a bit better. Whoa! Something fun about cosplay for me is that Evil Ted Smith made it possible for me to learn how to make costumes. Then I got into the crafting blood. Thought that I wanted to expand my territory and learn how to weld, and about 4 months ago I became a smith of all the knowledge I've learned around cosplay. Sweet! So I removed the texture right up to the ridge on one side. Now I'm going to flip it over and do that on the other side, and then I'm also going to taper off the thickness of the flukes. I'm going to bring the sides of the ricasso in a bit, and I'm going to also thin off the side of the quillions, the crossguard. Yes, I'm trying hard to use the correct terms so that when people like Beardy get on, they don't laugh at me for being a fucking nubby. If I'm making swords for people, I should know at least what the bits and pieces of the swords are called. Yeah, this is the pointy bit that you stick into people, and this is the roundy bit that you hold in your hand when you stick the pointy bit into people. Stick them with the pointy end. That's all you need to know. Seemed to work for her. That's not a knife. I see you've played Knifey Spoony before. Okay, so that's given us the basic profile on the top here. Again, I've still got to shape these off and shape off the cross guards before I can add this other layer on top. We're going to do that on both sides. We're going to thicken up the blade, the sword around the handle, around the ricasso, and give me the raised area that I'm going to start putting the details in. Like so. So what I'm going to do is I'll stick this 5mm down, and then I'm going to do a 2mm foam overlay of just the pattern. So I'll print this out again, I'll trace it out onto some 2mm, I'll cut out all the dark areas and glue it down and do the same on the crossguard and the same on the pommel, and we'll do that on both sides, which should add the thickness and the heft to the top half of the excuse me, of the sword. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to take the tips off of the flukes. I don't think on the foam that's going to work, so I'm going to blunten them off a little. So I've got a few viewers there, so what I like to do occasionally is do throw one in chat, which quite a few of us on Creative do. If you are a fellow creative streamer, please feel free to throw one in chat, just the number one, and those of you who see anyone put a number one in chat, if you're not following them and you're interested in following creative streamers, then please do so. There's Fen. Fen is a fellow creative streamer who's just put a 1 in chat. If you're not following Fen and you like following creative streamers, give Fen a follow and do the same for the rest of you people there. I know there are other creative streamers sitting there who have not put a 1. You could even come out of lurk mode momentarily to do that. No one would judge you if you put up a 1 and jump back into lurk mode. I certainly wouldn't. What the hell's going on out there? Two? You streamed twice? That's my neighbourhood, Finn. I'm sorry, man. That's how we roll around here. Can't be that serious. The dog hasn't gone off its tit. Come on. Nope, not sharp enough yet. Now I can't read chat because I've taken my glasses off. Guess that all the other numbers would be opposite of the number 1. Oops. And trying to think of creative ways to set up a working area. Again, anywhere from setting up a workshop in your yard with a tent for shade to going on a large workshop garage with a few friends and setting it up in there. Yep. My Sunday build session is getting to a point here where we were actually talking as a group of hiring a workshop area where we could all spread out and work instead of trying to cram in here. There are 5 regular people on a Sunday here now at my house, and there are 4 more who are interested in coming along. Oh yeah, everything is going to end up costing money. They so need to be tidied up with the Dremel. There's lots of crap hanging off of the edges of those. Might be time to actually spray that with some WD-40. That might be why my blade is not getting a good edge on it. There's probably too much build up. Might go by the storage unit today after work and grab some stuff. Gotta start somewhere, man. I mean, you don't need a huge workshop area to cosplay or to craft and build in. I mean, it's nice and it's ideal, and I'd fucking love one. But I'm literally working on my computer desk in my home. We don't have a kitchen table because I've stolen the area to craft that. Yes, I know I've still got my dust mask on too. I still have to sand this side of the blade. Okay. Oh, for Christ's sake, you pitiful mongrel. That didn't put an edge on that at all. It's like pushing a freaking butter knife through a piece of steel. Jesus wept. Working on getting a cosplay workshop up and running on weekends in Stockholm. Trying to convince the Cosplay Cafe to host it. Sounds like a fucking brilliant idea, man. They already have a target demographic, don't they? Righto. I'll tidy up this side of the blade, and I'm also going to start working some of the detail a little, not a lot, because once I glue the top piece on, I need then to bring it in and match it up with the Dremel. But I do need to get this taper right. Yeah, we can't actually complain about the cold. It's winter here. But it's not winter here like you guys know it over there. But it's still damn cold as far as we're concerned. I have the reverse cycle on at the moment to keep the house warm. But I really don't have reason to complain about it being cold. It's taken shape. It's starting to look a bit more like a sword now instead of just a silhouette. Have you ever tried a center grinder for a sword building? A center grinder? No, I haven't tried that, but I have my handy dandy Dremel work press here, and I have been seriously considering for some time using the cutting bits. That's not a drill bit, that's a saw blade. Okay, so I've been contemplating putting the saw blade in the Dremel, or the saw bit in the Dremel, and using it like a router kind of deal to cut out the silhouette. I might try it at some stage. You know what? I am going to take a biological break for a second. So chat amongst yourselves for one moment. Ah, it's much better. Yeah, I can change the angles by 15-degree increments. I can kick it off of straight up and down, go out by 15 degrees until it's at 90 degrees. I was also thinking about doing a the ability to mount it underneath my workbench and drill a small hole through my workbench and using it in reverse. So instead of using the plunger to pull it down, if it was mounted upside down, I could use the plunger to push it up, lock it off, so just the bit would be sitting up out of the work surface. And I could use it as a sanding disc to round to edges. I could use it as a cutting disc, that sort of stuff, and have the project float on the bench. But that's a future me issue. First, I must finish these. Yep, there we go. We're back. It is a pain in the posterior. Apparently, they're having a lot of trouble fitting all my fabulous content down that thin little tube that runs all the way to the United States. I'm sorry. Sharks, absolutely, man. They chew on the cables under the ocean. Right. It's kind of messy. But, let's see if we can't get to a better angle along the... You see now that the cross guards taper off to the outer edges. Yeah? On that one and on that one. And we can look past the camera. Oh, Jesus, I'm bashing my props off the top of the shelf there. You can see I've done the same thing to the flukes, they taper now. So I'm going to clean up all the dust. And then unfortunately I'm going to make some more dust by sanding off the texture for that first overlay. And I'm going to glue that down. Actually, what I'm going to do first is this. That was messy. Well, there we go, ladies and gents, that's tonight's stream. We've done the shaping of the blade, and I've done a whole pile of tapering and sanding on there in preparation for gluing the first of the panels on there to bring it up to a thicker blade along the handle and the ricasso and places, and I'm covered in fluff. So make sure you join us next time on Tyrannus Cosplay. I will be doing more work on the steel greatsword from Skyrim. Until then, please remember, I'm Tyrannus Cosplay, and it's called Cosplay because this stuff, I'm looking at the wrong camera, this stuff is meant to be fun. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.